I wanted to take a minute to break down the hierarchy inside Facebook Ads Manager because this is very much foundational into understanding how Facebook ads work, how campaigns work, how to choose targeting, where everything happens. So I just wanted to break this down very quickly. So if you have any questions about this, just let me know. Okay, so first is going to be the campaign level. So when you log into your ads manager, generally the first thing you'll see is the 3 tabs. It will say campaign, ad set, and ad. The campaign is the first level. So to give you an example, when I was running ads for this Facebook ads challenge, I grouped everything under one campaign. Now, this is where you choose your objective. So conversions, traffic, we're gonna talk throughout the week why you would choose certain objectives over the other one. For a free challenge or something like that, or a free download, I always split test the traffic objective and the conversions objective. So if I wanted to split test 2 different objectives, I would need 2 different campaigns. But because I've done this a couple times, for this particular challenge, I actually just went straight for the conversions ads because they always work for me for free things, for downloads, lead magnets, things like that. So the campaign is where you're going to choose your objective. Now, you can technically also choose your budget here if you want to. However, I don't usually recommend it. It's called campaign budget optimization, and we can talk throughout the week about why that hasn't really worked for me. And one of the reasons is the way I set up my audiences. So the next thing you're going to do, the next level that you're going to get to after you start your campaign is going to be the ad set level. So this is where you choose your budget typically, your placement. So are you going to be promoting this ad on Instagram, on Facebook, in the news feeds, in stories? This is where you're going to choose placements, and you're also going to choose your audience. So the ad set level is where all of the targeting happens. So a lot of people get confused with this. They think that if they want to test different audiences, they have to clone the entire campaign, but you can actually just have multiple ad sets inside of the campaign. And I'm going to break this down on the computer so that it becomes a little bit more clear for you, but I thought it was helpful to whiteboard it out first. That's how I think best. So for this Facebook challenge, again, going with that example, I chose 3 different ad sets. Ad set number 1 was my warm audience, so people that have been to my website, people that have been to my social media pages, people that are on my email list, people that have watched my videos, they go into my warm ad set. Now, for ad set 2, I chose a lookalike audience, which we're going to talk about throughout the week. So basically, I said, okay, anybody that's on my email list, I want Facebook to find me more people like them. So even though I don't really recommend letting Facebook disperse your budget between your audiences because it can't always tell the audience size and things like that, I do think that Facebook is very, very smart in finding people who are alike to each other. Lookalike audiences have come a long, long way over the past couple years. Way back in 2016, I think when they came out, it was very, very rough. We're going to talk more about that throughout the week, but my second ad set was a lookalike audience. So even though Facebook is finding people like my warm audience, it's still considered a cold audience. So it's usually around a couple million people. Now ad set 3 is going to be, I will call it my interest-based targeting. And you can test many different ad sets if you want. It's really going to depend on your budget. So I was doing about $25 a day when I started this challenge, and really I wouldn't do any more than 3 ad sets. I wouldn't split test any more than 3 ad sets on that budget. If you have a bigger budget, you can of course split test more. But for ad set 3, I chose people that were interested in Amy Porterfield because that is typically my best performing audience. Now, if you're just getting started, you might need to do a little bit more trial and error with this, but I'm not going to get too far into this because this is supposed to be a brief video. But one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is they'll bundle all of their interests into one ad set. So they'll say, for example, I want to target people who are interested in Marie Forleo and Gary Vaynerchuk and Amy Porterfield and Rick Mulready and Pat Flynn and just like all of the digital entrepreneurs out there. And they'll come to me and they'll say, you know, my ad isn't working really well. I think it's the targeting, what's going on. But because they have all of these different audiences bundled into one ad set, you can't separate out that data. So you can't say, okay, how many conversions are coming from Amy Porterfield's page versus Gary Vaynerchuk's page. The only way you can see that is if you split it into 2 different ad sets. Now, one more thing I wanted to say is if you're a local business, which I know a lot of you guys are, if you're using a lookalike audience, that's still totally valid. It will, when you create a lookalike audience, it will be based on an entire country. However, you can add location-based targeting on top of that. So you can say, okay, Facebook, find me more people that are like my current customers or my current audience, but they have to be within a radius of this geographical location. So don't be afraid to use lookalike audiences, even if you are a local business. All right, and then interest-based targeting. So this is where you choose all of these things. Now, if you want to split test different copy or creative, that is going to be at the ad level. So again, a lot of people will create brand new campaigns for every single creative that they want to test, but that's not really how it works. You can keep everything under the same umbrella as long as you're using the same objective. So this could be an image video, image video, image video. Now we're going to talk more throughout the week about which types of creatives I choose for which types of audiences, but I typically will only split test one thing at a time. So I know that I am an excellent ads copywriter. It's what I do for a living. I have so much experience, so I don't usually split test copy that much. I will do it if I'm doing like a huge new promotion or if I have a huge budget. But for me, I found that the biggest impact on the success of my Facebook ads isn't necessarily the copy, because I generally write high converting copy. It's usually the image. So I'm usually split testing images versus videos, boomerangs versus something else. So I generally split test images. Now, if I wanted to split test, copy and images, I would just have to create another ad, but I wouldn't change two things in the same ad. So like, for example, if ad 1 was a video that had short copy and ad 2 was an image that had long form copy, if one of them is outperforming the other one, you can't tell if it's because of the copy or if it's because of the creative. So just try and keep it sectioned out so that you can do your best data analysis, because Facebook ads, even though there are general best practices and recommendations, every audience is going to be different. Every business is going to be a little bit different, and testing is going to be one of the most important things. So all 6 of these ads are going to be under this campaign. So again, I'm going to show you what this looks like on a computer, but this is how it's broken out visually. So all of my challenge ads were all set up under this one campaign. So I hope that was helpful.
Right, now that you saw what Ads Manager looked like on the whiteboard, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like on the computer. So usually I'm a little bit more sophisticated with my naming, but this was my Facebook Ads Challenge campaign. So on the whiteboard, this was that big square at the top. All of my ad sets and all of my ads fall under this. So now that I have only this selected, so if I were to just go to the ad set tab, that second tab, it would be all my ad sets that I've ever created. So you don't want to do that. You want to go ahead and make sure that the relevant campaign that you want to look at is checked. So once I tell Facebook, okay, I only want to see the ad sets from this campaign, I go ahead and select this campaign. Now, under the ad set level, these are those 3 audiences that I talked about. And now some of these are turned off because I decided that this was my best performing audience. And as you can see, I have different budgets set up under each ad set. So I have my interest-based ad set, I have my lookalike audience, and I have my warm audiences. So these are my 3 different ad sets. Now, when I go ahead and select all 3 of these, it's going to pull in the ads for all of them. Now, when you're doing analytics for this particular campaign, I was testing 3 different videos, but as you can see, they're kind of all jumbled. And if I'm looking at like ad signups and things like that, it's going to be really confusing. So when you want to do some analytics, my recommendation is to go to the ad set level and only select one. So this one says, okay, interest-based Amy P. I only want to look at the ads for this particular ad set. Now, this doesn't include today. This was a brand new one that I launched today. So I'm going to go ahead and select today and hit update. All right, so this green image had 1 sign up. This image of me had 6 signups. And this yellow image didn't have any signups yet today. Now, impressions, it's going to show you how many people have seen it. This is going to be the cost per signup. So right now, the cost per signup for this ad is by far the lowest. So I might want to go ahead and switch this one off. I'm not going to do that yet. There isn't enough data to look at this stuff, but we're going to talk about a lot of different analytics and things like that throughout the week. But I just wanted to show you how you can analyze your campaigns. Now, I don't love the way Facebook has this set up. I think that umbrella hierarchy is a little bit more informative than this horizontal, but just know that your campaign can have multiple ad sets, and each ad set can have multiple ads. So this is what it looks like on the computer, and I hope that was helpful for you to see.